Welcome to another episode of Icon Presents. Today's guest is an amazing soulful songwriter and singer with musical inspirations from rock, neo-soul, country, and all of the above. Ladies and gentlemen, here to talk to us about her newest project, Anxieties. Ladies and gentlemen, Icon Presents Shea Givens.
Oh, another feeling near and there, I'm up and down. Can't believe it's taken me so long to see it clearly. Well, you know it's harder to believe when you're ripping away at the seams. Take a look in the mirror and you see who you wanna be, yeah. But I'm hanging by a thread, I'm only half there. I can't believe I need help to get a hold of myself. Cause just when I thought I knew everything, knew nothing at all, you came crashing through to break my fall. And everything means everything and nothing at all. Thinking about my younger self back then, what would she say? To see how far that we have come from then until now. Well, you'll see it's easy to believe when you're young and you're fearless, it seems. Take a look in the mirror and you see who you wanna be, yeah. But I'm hanging by a thread, I'm only half there. I might need a little help to get a hold of myself. It's just when I thought I knew everything, knew nothing at all, you came crashing through to break my fall. And everything is everything and nothing at all. I was pushing forward, I was reaching towards the next best thing. As long as it comes, my day's a little better, smile's a little bigger. And you don't know what you've done, cause I'm hanging by a thread, I'm only half there. I might need a little help to get a hold of myself. Cause just when I thought I knew everything, knew nothing at all, you came crashing through to break my fall. And everything means everything and nothing at all. Oh, now everything means everything and nothing at all. Did you know that I was fading when it came up with all your hating? Did you know that I was worrying, yeah, when it came up with all your hurting? Oh, cause your anxieties, you don't dare to put them on me. All of your anxieties, yeah. Oh, they don't do nothing for me, yeah. Didn't know that I was wondering, yeah, how much better I could be. When you came back without your nonsense, yeah, telling me everything I'm not gonna be. Oh, loving your anxieties, you don't need to put them on me. Oh, loving your anxieties, yeah. Oh, they don't do nothing for me, yeah. So just let me live. So just let me live. So just let me live, oh yeah, yeah. So just let me live, yeah. Oh, 'cause your anxieties, yeah, you don't need to put them on me. All in your anxieties, yeah. Oh, they don't do nothing for me, yeah. Oh, they don't, no, they don't. So just let me live. Oh, just let me live, oh, yeah. Oh, just let me live, oh, yeah. So just let me live.
And welcome Shea Givens, everybody. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. That was an amazing performance. So first off, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You got such an amazing voice. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Love it. So with that being said, let's talk about Anxiety. Tell me about that song.
Yeah, so...
Anxieties.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. That's okay. I recorded a solo version of it a while back, and then we ended up doing a live band version with QSC Audio.
Nice.
They have this great mixer. It's called a Touch Mix, and we did a whole session of that with the band members, and it just kind of rolled on from there.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay, what was the inspiration on that song? Because that song feels like it comes from a personal place. Like,
Sure does.
as a story.
I think everybody has a little bit of their anxieties, especially coming out of COVID and stuff too. And but I think I was in a situation where somebody else was just kind of putting their energy on me, and I just noticed how much it affected me. And I think later when I was just writing songs, it came out. I don't think it was out of anger or anything like that, but it was like, I guess we're writing this song today.
I got you. Is that usually how your songwriting kind of approach goes?
It varies. It could literally just be me singing in the kitchen, a bunch of like garbage words or whatever, and then making something out of it later.
Yeah.
But my vocal memos are just full of random nonsense. And then some of them, I'll play them on piano and we learn them further, but yeah, it just depends on the day.
No, I get it. As a songwriter and everything, as a musician, I think every musician and songwriter that I know has a file or their recording in their phone is just full of just nonsense, just baby babbles and yeah, that sounds good. And then you go back to it sometimes later on. Like for me, sometimes I feel like, okay, I want to write a song. Instead of trying to come up with something brand new, like starting from scratch. I know at some point in my life I had an idea of something. And so I go back to these memos and you're like, oh shoot, man, I was doing that. And then sometimes when you find it, it's like, oh man, that was gold. I can't believe that's been sitting on the shelf basically for the longest time. It's just a lot of fun. So tell me a little bit about your music and your musical journey.
Yeah. Well, I grew up singing with my mom growing up. And so I grew up, yes. But singing with her for years and stuff. She grew up in the music industry and stuff too. And so a lot of learning harmony and just whatever, car trips we'd be singing along with. And then as I got older, I would perform more and do a lot of random things that came my way. We would sing a cappella for random events to her and my sister and myself. And so that was fun. And then I learned to play piano. I think I started taking lessons around, I think like 6 or 7.
Nice.
I was in choir and band, a little bit of jazz band,
cool.
just all sorts of stuff throughout school. And then I went to college for something totally different.
Yeah.
Still performed quite a bit at school off and on. I took some, poetry classes and did a little spoken word and stuff like that, but not a lot of spoken word, but I have an appreciation for sure.
Yeah. It's a skill set on its own. It's a skill set.
It's wonderful. Yeah. And then, after graduating, I started exploring and just really wanted to take it more seriously and develop, the tools a bit more to hopefully be a better artist,
I got you. Now, you moved out here to California because you're originally from Missouri, right?
Yeah.
Got you. So you moved out here like almost a decade ago.
Yeah, we're looking at about 10 years.
Yeah. What brought you out here?
I think I don't know. There's just like a wandering piece of me, I guess. I did a little bit of a music thing that I ended up back in the Midwest at the end of it. And I was like, you know what? I want to go back to the West. Funny enough, I really had never visited out here even prior to moving.
Did you have any family out here?
Yeah, I have a huge family. And so there were some family members in Southern California, more specifically. Gotcha. And Temecula and all the surrounding areas. And so it's like, if I'm going to start somewhere, let's go there. That'll be comfortable and comfortable enough amongst like a really big place. Right. But I also knew it's not that far from LA. It's not that far from San Diego. I'm sure other people probably think different things about that. But to me, I'm like, you got to go hour plus for something interesting where I grew up.
True. It's funny to me how some people's perspective on distance and where they go to travel is like, to some people, it's like, oh man, it just goes up there. Like my parents live in Menifee. And so I drive up there no problem.
It's nothing.
It's like, all right, cool. And then I remember, but before when we all, like my family used to live down in San Diego, we would drive down to San Diego and be like, all right, cool. But driving the other direction, it was like, that's way too far out the way. Yeah. I don't know why that was. It was just like, I don't know. It was a weird thing.
Yep.
All right. So do you think that transition from going from Missouri to California affected your music at all? Do you see any kind of radical changes that you made in that?
Yes, definitely. And I feel like there's been a few of my songs that I've been working on more recently too that even come from kind of random memos that were written amongst travels, But I think the life experiences and stuff have made my writing maybe a little stronger.
Yeah.
Just giving me a bit more to talk about, really. Get to know myself better, even away from other friends and family that I grew up with. And it just kind of makes you really develop yourself a little differently. So absolutely.
I got you. So tell me a little bit about these projects you got in the works. Yeah. You got a lot of music in the works.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I've been working on several different songs where the intent is to put out an album in September.
Nice.
But we've been up at Blue Dream Studios. Sam Bronner has been doing sound engineer work and a little bit of production for us in LA. And they're just incredible. Him and his partner, Raquel Rodriguez, run that. And they're fantastic. Okay. Absolutely fantastic. Nice. And they just offer a really nice safe space for me to just kind of bring these really half-written songs and be like, all right, guys. What can we do with this? And normally they look at me like, well, what's the format? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's make it up.
Yeah, let's figure it out.
Let's make it up, So we got quite a few of them already done and ready to go and just putting those final touches on it. And looking forward to putting some of the first ones out soon.
I got you. Now, you were telling me earlier that this one you guys are doing all live band in studio.
Yeah,
right?
so like because he isolates it so well, there's times where we'll go in and cut something again, or like I'll do final vocals a little bit later.
Right.
But often we're recording it at the same time, and he's just really incredible at catching all of that in such a nice way.
That's nice.
So it's a new part of the process for me. You know, it feels more like performing, and I think it brings something a little new out of me.
I agree. I think that there's a element, obviously, like there's a reason why live albums are a thing, right? And because like sometimes, like growing up, man, you'll hear an album and you'll be like, nah, man. Even my dad's band, I've told him, I was like, that song sounds nice, but I like the way y'all do it when it's live better. And a lot of times that's because you do it like more often than it would. So it's had room to grow, try something new and all that kind of stuff. But the collaboration and the feeling that you get when everybody's together doing something, that energy, it's very necessary. When I was in college studying audio, it was like, that was one of the things my professor, he was like, you can sit there and one individual, you can like, hey, okay, this person's going to lay the track first. And then you kind of build off of that. But if you get the opportunity to put that all together, like all at one time, basically, man, you capture something unique there.
Yeah, a lot of magic. Yeah. Well, and I feel like the imperfections and the, you know, whatever ambient sounds and things that are coming through. Yeah. I mean, it makes for a lot of good stuff.
Exactly.
And so, you know, it doesn't allow me to get stuck in the idea of it being perfect, I think, too. And it just makes it, I think, better. For sure.
I got you. Now, real quick, you performed those 2 songs with us.
Yeah.
And you sounded great.
Thank you.
But then you started playing a song that, for me, I'm like, yo, you hit me with that, what is it, How Deep Is Your Love? And you did, I was like, yo, that right there, because I absolutely love that song. I actually absolutely love PJ Morton and what was the girl's name? Yeba. Like, they absolutely killed that.
Absolutely.
Tell me about your inspirations. Like, I want to know who's inspiring your music. Because, like, once you started singing that, I was like, yo, I'm feeling the Alan Stone. I'm feeling the PJ Morton. I'm feeling the Yeba. I'm feeling all of that, all up in the mix there. Give me a little bit of it.
Thank you. That's incredible.
Yes.
Well, you know, I grew up listening to everything.
Okay.
So I think for a long time, I really didn't even know how to answer that question because it could span all the way from, like, Aretha Franklin to Shania Twain and to just like everything in between. But I think as of late too, there's been a lot of things that I think I'm paying attention a little bit more of like why I like things and, you know, but Alan Stone is incredible. Like puts on a live show, band, solo, whatever it is, it's incredible. Yes. There's also so many like performances that you can kind of like see of like Yeba just being in the moment, you know. I think I'm really inspired by artists that are just being authentic.
Okay.
Whether it's perfect or not, like that I really resonate with that.
I got you.
Big time.
Yeah, I get it. I understand that because you're like, okay, the artists that you're going to pull from, they're going to inspire you, whatever like that, you have to connect with. And if you're constantly worrying about the perfection and all that kind of stuff, or if they are, then it loses something in that mix. And you're like, nah, I want to keep that raw talent. That's what what it really is. It's keeping the human element of things like that. And like, I'm going to take a quick pivot. That's one of the things that kind of people that I would say kind of try to lean on to like AI tools and stuff like that these days is as long as you introduce more and more AI and all that into it, you lose that human feeling and really you lose room for human error in that. And to be honest, a voice crack sometimes, that can really make a song feel like something. Oh yeah. Right? And so it makes it different. If I hear every note, but if I hear that, like if you're singing a song, I was listening to an interview that these guys did with Troy Taylor. He's an R&B. You familiar with Troy Taylor? And he was doing this podcast and he was talking with these guys about how like he would be like, he'll be your worst nightmare in the studio, telling you, do it over again. You need to go to the bathroom. You're not going until you get this right. But he was talking about how you're trying to get that feeling for something. You know, you shouldn't sound happy singing a sad song.
Right.
And it's not about, oh man, I'm showing off. I'm hitting all these notes and all that kind of stuff. But you sound like you're doing great. But your song sounds like you're in pain. Yeah. And it's like accomplishing that that feat when it comes to creation is something that's unique to really only the human experience. That it's like, no AI is going to be able to take advantage of that. Not saying that you can't use the tools, but
yeah, there's some cool tools they got going on for sure. But you're right, that passion and stuff cannot be replicated. The passion and kind of the experience behind the vocalist or musician, I mean, it comes through.
Exactly.
It does.
It definitely does. So tell me, in your musical journey, like obviously we all go through our peaks and valleys and all that kind of stuff. I want you to give me like a high point, because you've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
Give me a high point that you're like, that you still look back and you're like, hey, I did that.
Ooh. You know, okay, this is not even probably normally the one I would go with, but when I was in college, I performed the national anthem a couple times for some of our big games. And I remember thinking that was like a really big deal because as much as I know that song, I was like, I'm for sure going to mess this up. So that, for some reason, that still rings true in my head. Like, we did that. We did actually sing it right.
That's awesome.
So there's stuff like that. But, you know, it's hard to say because I've had even some like seemingly kind of small performances that when people are really engaged or they're like coming up and talking to me, or like sometimes it's like a little girl that comes up in like a sparkly outfit that she's like, man, you're a rock star. I'm like, that's awesome. Thanks. Like, I didn't think that I would be that impressionable on somebody, but it's like there is just kind of an energy exchange there that I really appreciate. And so sometimes those moments are like just really, really important to me.
I got you.
And not really what I see coming either, you know?
I feel it. So I have to ask you the contrast now.
Yeah.
You've been in the industry for a minute. Obviously, in any creative field, you have those moments of doubt where you're going to look at things and you say, you know what? Maybe I should go be an accountant somewhere. Yeah. Maybe I should go back and do the speech whatever thing that you were talking about before. Do you ever look back, or can you recall any moments that you're just like, this is my low point right now and I'm thinking about packing it up, going back to Missouri? And
You know, it's interesting because I feel very grateful that at least up to this point, where's the wood? But I feel like I've always felt at home with music. I think it's continued to take on a new shape for me. And I've had times where I've like doubted maybe whether a song is good enough, or like something didn't feel very authentic to myself yet or whatever, and I still was growing into it. But, you know, I have felt like I was supposed to be in this area for now. And I feel very grateful and lucky for that. But I have had plenty of, like, especially through COVID and stuff, and, you know,
I think everybody felt like that during COVID.
And whatever, you know, you get in those moments where you're like in your head. And I think for me, it's been even a good challenge for me to be able to kind of get out of my own way a little bit. And I'm still 1000% working on that. But it's a new challenge, you know.
I got you.
You get a lot of hours in and you start seeing different things that you need to adjust. And
now, do you have any things that you look at and you say, okay, that would be my low point, which, like I said, everybody has that. And any given day, you're going to wake up and think, okay, am I really doing this? Or am I at the point where I want to be? Whatever. How do you keep yourself motivated to keep going?
Honestly, it's probably an unhealthy like combination of my identity with music.
Yeah.
Like, I don't separate it so much.
I got you. So like this is who I am, so I don't have a choice but to do it.
Yeah, like this is it. Like this is me, you know? And so that's probably not great, but so don't do that. But, you know, I feel like the challenges have been more kind of getting myself to like a healthier mindset, even away from when I'm performing. Okay. So like, for instance, like if there's always like photo shoots or video shoots, even stuff like this where we're analyzing like, you know, does your hair look right? You got an alfalfa, right? You got like an arm looking crazy, or like, you know, just all the things that I know a lot of performers out there, like you look later and you go, oh, the angle of that is just crazy. But I think one of the big practices I'm having to really challenge myself with is just like, this is what you look like. This is what you're happy to do. And you can go up from here, but like, you gotta like be kind to yourself a little bit more often. So I've had a lot of times where I've really almost had to like sit myself down and be like, that was really mean to yourself. Why are you doing that? And normally somebody else is kind of picking up on it first. And then I have to go, oh, I need to stop that.
No, I get that. It comes with pretty much any, I guess any new field that a lot of people go through. When you're trying to put yourself out there, you become your own worst critic. Like I do it all the time. Like I'll sit there and I edit and produce this entire show. So
that's a lot.
The sound of my voice gets annoying to myself. And I know it's like people are like, oh, everybody hates the sound of their voice. But like that was this kind of thing that I was self-conscious about before. But then also it's the element of things like you're always paying attention to how you look on camera and all that kind of stuff. And all these things that will tell you basically or restrict you from going forward and doing anything. It's like, hey, I don't post this video or post this picture because I'm limited to essentially my thoughts or my perception of myself. And it's like, even though a lot of other people may appreciate that, right? And they're not going to see the same flaws and all that kind of stuff that they do, or it doesn't mean that you don't be too hard on yourself to the point where it stops you from being able to move forward.
That's right.
So what are we looking at? Big dreams for you? You got any big goals? Anything? I would say, I'll put it this way. I asked the Reckless that question and they said, well, obviously the goal is to be the biggest band in the U.S. Obviously. But we're going to keep it something that's obtainable for now. What are we thinking?
You know, I think for me, this is like just one of those really big goals, especially even leaving this year after like putting out the album and stuff. Like, I want to play music with my friends. You know, like I think... coming out of COVID, there was a lot of functionality to like being able to play an instrument, go play solo, and like, you know, you don't got to rehearse with anybody. There's all this stuff. But I think my brain is a little bored of that because as much as I have experience playing instruments, like I am limited in the way that I play while I sing. I play a little differently. And I have so much respect for so many of my band members that they bring something else out of my voice when we all play together.
Right.
And so now I'm like, man, it is so fun to me when we play together. And just kind of getting to a point where there's like a little bit of a rhythm to that and we get to refine in a new way.
I got
That's a big goal for me. Big goal. You know, being able to do more shows that are revolving around this original music that we put out.
I got you. You do a lot of live performances, right?
Oh, yeah.
I got you. So obviously you love it.
I love it. Absolutely.
So how'd you get into like, with live performing? Obviously, you said you're in the choir and all that stuff. But in the choir, you can, you know, sometimes rely on somebody else's notes sometimes to, you know, to help you out or whatever. How do you approach like going on stage now and you're like, all right, cool, this is me. I'm doing this by myself, solo. That's wild. And it's a feat. Like I've done it, but it's wild to still like. It's not one of those things that I ever lose appreciation for people to be able to do. To be able to go on stage and express and perform and put out your creativity for other people to say, hey, this is me. Hope you like it.
I think in some ways it's a selfish endeavor because I do just love it. You know, so some of it's that. I grew up watching my mom perform some too, and my godmother was a singer as well, and so it's just like kind of seeing that element of performance. I feel like there's a piece of it that gets normalized, but I didn't really ever feel nervous to perform even as a kid. Now, mind you, that could also be flipped into like, maybe I wasn't doing enough to make me nervous yet. Like,
I guess
you know, so I'm sure I'll be met with that at some point.
I get that. Like growing up for me, like I'm a pastor's kid, right? So I always say like, as a pastor's kid, you don't have the room to kind of fall in the background. And so it's like, if anything, exactly. So anything that ever needs to get done or any volunteers were necessary, you were going to be, you know, up and ready to go. So like I grew up performing, like singing in the choir, doing all that, leading songs and everything like that. Even my dad's band, I would do things like we would go out to like the House of Blues and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you a story real quick. So I shared this with Gabriel Cannon. We were doing the House of Blues. It was I believe it was a Christmas event. And like the choir is up there and we're singing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm singing this song, Kirk Franklin's Christmas album, Jesus is the Reason for the Season, right? Yes. And, it's performance time, right? My parents been performing for the longest time. And so I'm like, okay, cool. You got to put on a show when you're doing this. You cannot be kind of just mellow or whatever like that. You just got to go above and beyond. So I would be singing and dancing and all that kind of stuff all at the same time because that song is a banger. I don't know if you ever heard it, but that song is an absolute banger. So I was doing that. I don't know if you know what the dance move, the pin drop is, but it's the one like they used to do. You tuck your leg behind the other one and you drop down and you pop up, you spin up and all that kind of stuff. So I did that. Yeah. So I did that. The thing is, I was wearing dress shoes and I was not familiar. So I'm on the wood floor of the stage, the dress shoes, and that was way too slippery. Mm-hmm. And so I almost ate it so bad. I think I played it off pretty well. I think so.
I'm sure you did.
But the lady in front of me let me know that she saw me almost fall on her.
Somebody always let you know.
I was like, oh my gosh. But no, I love live performing as well. Like it's just a different energy. You never know. There's an energy that comes from a crowd that kind of elevates it to a next level. Yeah. So what kind of shows do you have coming up?
Well, right now, kind of just getting a little bit used to playing some of these originals even before they're getting released. So like if anybody sees us before September, we might have a few in there. But, the band part of the experience is fairly new for me, like as far as something that's often. Okay. And so trying to throw more of those in is a big one. We've got one Saturday that's in Chino Hills and got a few even like private things and stuff. Like wherever I get it, we're going.
So how do people figure out where you're going to be at then?
On my website, I put all my stuff on there.
Okay. So, yeah. What is your website?
SheaGivensMusic.com. Okay. So it's SHEA.
All right. So let the people know how they can support you.
Yeah. Well, we're always building the Spotify and all the streaming and all the YouTube stuff. I feel like I'm probably most active on like Instagram and stuff as far as putting out extra updates and stuff. It's still Shea Givens Music. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So before we wrap up, I always like to give, artists and creators an opportunity to kind of encourage other creators coming up. So take this moment. What would you tell somebody that may be kind of maybe battling with the self-doubt or the, the kind of complicated parts of, becoming a artist and putting yourself out there? What kind of words of encouragement would you give them?
I'm going to echo some of the things that other people have told me too. Just keep going, because I think some of those same struggles you still experience in other parts of life, and with music and creative endeavors, it can be heavy, because it is very much a part of you, but keep going, keep developing it, keep finding the joy in it. Don't stop.
Awesome. Well, I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Yes, and again, give your socials and not your social, but your, social media.
My social number.
Yeah.
So you can find me at SheaGivensMusic.com. You get all the lyrics there, or the links. You can get the links there. You can subscribe even to the email to get the ultra special updates.
Okay, so we can watch when that album drops.
Yeah. And then Instagram is Shea Givens Music. I try to keep everything the same. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on another episode of Icon Presents. Be sure to follow everything that Shea Givens has been putting out there. Check out the Icon Presents website. Go to iconpresentspodcast.com to keep up with blog posts, upcoming events, upcoming interviews. It is such an honor to create or connect with such creatives. It's so much fun, and I do not take that opportunity lightly. I appreciate it so much. Thank you all for your support. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it out there. If you have anybody that you want to have on the show or just let me know. Send me a message. Thank you so much. Y'all take care.